Aslak has nearly 20 years of experience as a practitioner and instructor of hand moved martial arts, competing in about 100 full contact fights and winning the World Championship gold medal in Michigan, USA in 2000. Martial arts has taught him the importance of leaders being lifelong learners and also coaching others. He is also the CEO of Selfly Store, and Aslak, who was recognized by Chiefs Digest as one of the 10 best CEOs to watch in 2023, has been leading teams and companies for over 15 years. And as we prepare to delve into our conversation on the topic at hand, mastering the art of leadership from world champion fighter to innovative CEO with Aslak De Silva, here's an exciting twist. First, let us tickle his brain. So, Aslak, get ready for a rapid fire round of random words. I'll mention a few, and I would love to hear the first thing that comes to your mind in response without thinking much. If you're ready, let's dive in.
I'm ready as always, Naveen.
Okay, perfect. So, here comes my first word: curiosity,
Learning,
invention,
improvement,
future,
exciting,
book,
wisdom,
movie,
entertainment.
aliens,
Ooh, tough one. Where are they?
universe,
Vast.
leadership,
People.
role model,
Inspiration.
and the last one is success.
That's an outcome.
Amazing. I loved all the responses. And Aslak, thank you so much for participating in the first rapid fire round so sportively. And there is one more rapid fire round waiting towards the end of the episode. And before I officially welcome you to the show, let me welcome the audience. So, folks, you have tuned into the Guiding Voice podcast series where we embark on transformative conversations for a better future. I am your host, Naveen Samala, dedicated to making the world a better place through valuable discussions that add value not only to your life but also to your career. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Aslak, hearty welcome to TGV, the Guiding Voice. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm great, Naveen, and thanks for having me. I really appreciate this.
Most welcome, and let's get started, Aslak. We'll begin with your success mantra. So please talk to us about top 3 things that have contributed to your success so far.
Well, I don't know if I have any mantras as such, but I think 3 things that I value and things that I think that are important in life. First is love and support. So you need to have people who are on your side, in your corner, support you when you need it, love and cherish you, but then also like ask and challenge you to do better if you can do. So kind of people in your corner. That's what you need. Second thing that I think is to learn to be a fighter. A fighter is somebody who doesn't give up too easily, always tries to find a way to win and learns from mistakes. I mean, that's important to be a fighter. So win or lose, you always get bruised. So better to win and learn the art of winning in that sense. And then the third one that I think is important or has been important for me is to learn from the best. So seek out for those who have been successful before, who are the best in the field that you need to be in, so that if you learn from the best, so your way of succeeding will be way easier from that sense, I'd say.
Learn from the best. I think that is so profound thought. And in case if we look out for best people around us and we have a lot to learn, that is my key takeaway. And Aslak, throughout your diverse career journey, what have been some of the most impactful lessons you have learned, either through successes or failures, and that have shaped your approach to leadership as well as life?
Well, yeah, let me share 2 short stories. So first one was that changed a lot of my thinking today was when I was in a leadership position first time in my life, and I was working as a CEO, and then there was a global recession hitting, and that meant that I had to downsize the team. And in that moment, in the beginning, so I was looking a lot from the company side. So I thought that as a CEO, my job is to take care of the company and that the company survives. And basically, I think I forgot the people that I was leading. And when I had to go through those tough decisions, so I was always talking about how it's important for the company, and then of course having those tough discussions and understanding that people felt bad. But in the end, what happened was that the remaining team also was frightened and scared. So I think I lost my leadership abilities in that company for that reason, that I wasn't taking care of the people. I was more focused on the company. And I think that was a huge thing for me to understand later on, that then as a leader, I failed even though the company survived. So to me, the leadership is about people. So kind of then then for the second story, so why then when COVID hit and I was working for an event company, and we arranged these huge mass scale events in the Nordics in Northern Europe, and then COVID hit and our event was 6 months apart, and so basically what happened was that arranging events became illegal, and then for the team, then that can we arrange event, when is that going to happen? So we had this a situation where there were no right answers. And of course, I was lucky enough to get support from the owners and the board to kind of with scenario planning. And but I was very open with the team about different scenarios. And the worst case scenario is that there's no future for the company, and we all are losing our jobs. And then maybe more positive scenarios. But the difference here from the first story that I told was that I was open and honest to the team, and we kind of looked through these lenses of like one of the great teachers that I love, seeing the best in the world. So Jim Collins, he has this concept of stocktail paradox, which then basically means that you have to face the brutal facts, but you don't lose the faith in prevailing in the end. So every day when we were through in this COVID crisis, so we went through that where we are, no sugarcoating of the situation. We dealt with emotions when we were afraid and we were not certain. So we were open about those. But then we also picked up this fighter spirit. Let's test and try. So we pivoted to online services, to webinars, to courses, and so on. And just to find something to grasp on, and just something that motivated us just to get through the days. And none of them basically saved the company, this digital format business cases, but they kept us in having the faith that someday we will prevail. And then when the situation cleared, so even if we had to downsize the team, we were all super motivated, supporting to each other. And then in the end, the company survived with great spirit, and the success continued after that.
So first, I need to appreciate your openness in terms of talking about the when you mentioned about the first story, wherein the inability to lead the team properly, like you are focusing more on the results rather than the empathy part, and which you got corrected in the second instance during the COVID time. So really appreciate you sharing so openly. And with that, let's move ahead and talk about your extensive career in martial arts, and including winning the world championship gold medal in the year 2000, right? So, how did
Yeah.
you apply the principles and mindset cultivated in martial arts to your role as a business leader?
Yeah, I think, of course, there are lots of things to learn from martial arts, and anything from training to kind of go there every day and get better. But I think for the business world and leadership, I think there are basically at least two sides that I want to bring up. First is that to understand the basic principles. So of course in martial arts, when you start from the white belt and you learn the techniques, or you have basic techniques, but when you kind of reach the level of black belt in many martial arts, then you say that you just know the techniques and principles, but then the learning starts. So it's never about the actual technique, it's never about the punch or the kick or the submission. It's always about the principle that you need to understand how to apply them in any situation, and then you have just the thought of the end outcome. So I think that's also, if you look at from business side, so yes, you need to understand finances, leadership, and stuff, but you need to understand what are they for, what are you looking for, and what's the end outcome you're looking for. And then you will learn and when you kind of, you're never perfect, and in a fight, like I said before, that you get always bruised, but that's how you learn that what were the mistakes to kind of fix. But in the end outcomes can still be really good, even though you do some mistakes. So I think that's something that I kind of easy for me to understand, that regardless of what happens, so you can get better. But sometimes it's just about winning, and it doesn't matter if everything felt bad during the time, but the end outcome is good. But the second part is that I think as a fighter, you always try to find a way to win, and how to get to the level that you really trust. So it's actually starting from a lot of self-doubt, and in martial arts, there's always somebody who's better than you. There's always bigger, stronger, quicker opponents. So you know that you're never the best, but there's always a chance to win, and you just have to find it. So you first go through this self-doubt, and you start building a confidence, and you will find the ways to win. But during the moment, it's a lot about this mental strength in those moments, that do you really want to succeed at this moment, or do you just want to give up? And I think that's something that is strong, that if you have kind of gone through about 100 full contact fights, so many times you have failed because you just wanted to give up. But then I feel that maybe after 30 to 50 fights, then you kind of found your true strength of like that you can always lose, but you can never give up like too easily. So I think that's something that I have taken for business and leadership as well.
Wow. So I heard a quote which says, "It is not over until it is over." I think that kind of spirit is what you might have learned after going through those many fights, and that has really taught some amazing stuff, right?
Yeah,
So now
I
let's,
agree with that.
now let's shift gears and talk about your background in coaching and leading teams. So how do you believe leaders can effectively transition into becoming better coaches, and how does this contribute to building stronger and more resilient teams?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Naveen, and I don't think there's any simple answer to that. But I think coaching is about understanding a lot of human behavior. It's a lot about support, but also demanding. So I mean, it's the balancing act in a way that you need to be able to build the feeling that you can be better, but at the same time build a feeling that you need to work for it. So I mean that's in coaching in my mind, is that it's kind of a working together in those things. And it's always maybe in martial arts you have yin yang, so it's always maybe even looking at the opposite side that the coachee is thinking. So if you're thinking everything is going well, so then coach's job is to point out that you can do better in this particular part. And if you lose your self-confidence, then it's coach's job to lift you up. Members also to build it. There's a difference between looking what you do today and what you do tomorrow. So coach helps you to maybe build this kind of more bold vision for the future, these audacious goals in life, and then clears the path and helps you to work with that. But coach will never do the work for the person or for you. So it always has to be there that you, the person, anyways have to do it on its own or on his or her own. So a lot of with the resilient teams comes to the same thing as well. So that you're supporting there, but also challenging the team to be better. And if you do that every day, all the time, so that's in my opinion where the resilience comes from. Do you agree with that, or do you have any other tips yourself?
Mhm. Amazing, amazing. And let's move forward. And being a CEO, I think it's demanding stuff wherein you're conducting business across numerous countries and also maintaining a healthy family life, right? That is also very important, and it is not a small feat at all. So, can you share some strategies or principles you have implemented to Tetris your life and achieve satisfying work life balance?
Yeah, thanks. I wrote an article on the Forbes.com. I'm in the Forbes Business Council member there, and I think there's a lot of talk, at least in the Nordics and in Europe in general, of this life balance and work life balance and how to work with that. Yeah, but let's be honest. So it's hard to be a CEO, have a family, be in a healthy life, sleep enough, and all that. And I don't know if you are familiar with the game of Tetris, but I watched the kind of the short recap of the person who played it through, and there as well. So many times it looks like that it's not going to be there. You're not going to be successful, and it's imbalanced. But certain blocks you can see that you're happy to when the blocks come, so you can turn them around and it fits perfectly, and you're waiting for those blocks. So this is the way I see as well, that there are times in life or during the day that you are maybe you are focused on your work, but then there are times when you can actually do the better working blocks. So the way I work, for instance, is that I have two daughters who are figure skaters, so I take them to their training and train myself, but I might learn something, so I might listen to audiobook, or I might invite even business friends to train with me. So during those kind of super hours that I like to call them, so I get way more done at the same time, and then it saves time from the rest, walking meetings or cooking while you are listening to something. So kind of trying to do many things at a time when you actually have the capacity of doing saves time from others, and then finding to do all these important things in life. So for me, the family is important. So for instance, every night at 9 p.m., me and my wife will watch TV together for an hour. And that's the time for us to just to relax, go through the day, and just to be together. So kind of being very calendar oriented in this way, that you are diligently working with your routines, helps to Tetris your life with balance. And then when you have the blocks that you know are coming, you can fit them perfectly. So I think that's the kind of the theory that I have there behind.
Very nice. Actually, it reminded me of one of my leaders during my GE days, during early stage of my career. So, wherein this guy was at a CXO level, and he used to go on. He used to hit the gym in the evenings, and he used to take those calls during that particular gym time, so that while he's having that fitness regime, he's trying to attend the calls, and that way after the workout is over, by the time he completes his work and he has enough time to spend with the family, right? So likewise, I can relate to what you have mentioned as part of this Tetris. This is a great tip, and I think those of you who are listening or watching this episode and are in senior leadership positions, probably I think this is a great tip of great takeaway to learn. And thank you so much, Aslak, for sharing that. Now let's move forward. So, in your presentation about redefining leadership to empower teams and create inclusive cultures, you touch on the importance of adapting leadership styles, right? So, could you elaborate on how leaders can evolve their approach to leadership, especially in this rapidly changing dynamic business landscape?
Yeah, sure. Again, a great question. I mean, and a broad one. But I think, anyways, the leadership starts with people. So, of course, it depends on what kind of people you have in your team. There are from different cultures, of different age, and even I'd say that one dimension is always extroverts, introverts, how they want to deal with. And so, I'd say that my style always is to kind of try to build personal connections to everybody and understand where they come from, and then also understand the general things about different cultures, how they behave. For instance, how some cultures are very worried to talk up in a way that if you're a CEO, so people might not be open and honest about you, but then kind of fine tuning and finding your own way of talking. So, for instance, my style is a lot that I tend to talk with a smile, try to make some jokes, but to be very conscious about what kind of jokes I make. I'm very honest about my mistakes, as we I explained in the beginning as well, like what kind of mistakes I've made. So trying to create the safe feeling for everybody to share those. And from there on, then it starts to building up. And often it's a bit on the coaching side, so that you help to others that, hey, this is okay in this environment to talk straight and be open and transparent, and talk about the negative things as well. And for some, it's more like that, hey, let's listen to what others are saying. So it's not about individual performance. So I think it has to do a lot with the team that you are with. And then again, kind of maybe coming to the yin and yang. So in enhancing those silent people to speak up more, and then silencing those who speak a lot, so that in the end there's a balance, that everybody's heard, everybody's feeling that they're together in the team. And that's then the purpose of the kind of the inclusive leadership, that style that you can in the end build. And it can be anything. It can change a lot if you have people from Asia to the US, so they are already from the start, they talk very differently. So then it's a balancing out in a way that everybody feels comfortable, everybody's contributing equally, and that's then in the end the outcome that you are looking for.
Got it, Aslak, and I'm loving this conversation. Now let's talk briefly about your company, Selfly Store. As the CEO of your company, like I think you guys utilize AI and machine learning in its smart vending machines. So how do you see these technologies shaping the future of retail and customer experience? And what opportunities do they present for businesses?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we believe that people's needs are predicted or can be predicted in advance, and then enabling them to buy, or what we call self-ling, their preferred goods at the right time, at the right place, with zero waiting time and food waste. So we are kind of seeing the future that consumers have what they need where they are, and that's based on data. So what it means is then that for instance, now we have customers in more than 20 countries in Europe. So we are collecting data from all these machines that we have, the cabinets out there, and then we are able to actually start predicting a lot more that what's going to happen where and when. And for instance, like if you are going for a hotel with your family, so based on the data, we might see that you need this certain goods, your certain items at a certain time, and maybe we have already a background information of your family from different sources, that maybe some of your family are, let's say, are vegan or something. So we can then start collecting this data and prepare everything ready for where you are. And this is where AI and machine learning plays a huge part, because then to be able to predict this kind of a mass data to individual items, that's where you really need to understand that where are people going and why. For instance, like how does weather impact on that, or maybe the calendar date when Easter or Christmas is coming, how do people travel at that time? And then this, when we talk about the previous models that have been there, were more on individuals and their baskets. But now we are talking about mass scale, and kind of maybe like more on the e-commerce, like demand-based things. So how can you actually predict what's going to be bought, because there's a demand and maybe there's a marketing campaign, and all these kind of different data sources start to now play a bigger role. And this is why you need a lot of computing power to be able to understand. Let me share a simple example that kind of opened my eyes. Was that many customers asked us when they're starting the selfie store that should they actually sell Coke or Pepsi. And then we asked the AI and a lot of data that what should they do, and maybe surprisingly they answered that you should have both. And why? Because then of course when you start thinking that some prefer Pepsi, some prefer Coke, but what we saw that actually that increases more than 40% of the sales of other items in the cabinet if you have them both. Because then it's like if you think of a grocery store that only has Coke, so then you're like thinking that, okay, maybe they don't have what I need. But if they have Coke and Pepsi, so more people start thinking that they have what you need. And that's why more people will come and buy. So these things are sometimes very hard for us as humans to pick up from the data, but with a lot of computing power, AI and machine learning, so you can build these algorithms which will actually answer you quite quickly and show why you should use different maybe assortment or pricing points and so on.
Got it. So it is going to help you find the patterns and some unforeseen trends within the data. So that is what I could understand. And Aslak, this has been fabulous conversation, and it's time for us to add some more spice and some more excitement to the episode. So if you're ready, I'll kick off the second rapid fire round.
Sure, I'm ready.
Okay, here comes the first bullet. If you could have one gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say?
I like the phrase, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So maybe that's the one.
Yeah, amazing. Luck is when preparation meets an opportunity. All right, so let's move forward. And if you were to swap your life with someone for a day, who would it be?
Oh, that's a tough one. But maybe my kids. I would like to see the world with the children's side today. Like, how do they see it? And maybe even my kids, so that then I could get some feedback on like how am I as a father.
Interesting. And can you describe yourself in just one word?
I'm a fighter.
Fighter. Super. And complete this phrase 3 times. Okay. Never have I ever.
Never have I ever got a speeding ticket. Never have I ever visited Australia. Never have I ever jumped with a parachute.
Amazing. I loved all of them, and those are spot on responses. And here comes the next one. With whom would you like to collab or work with if you ever get a chance?
Ooh, so many opportunities. But have to go with Sir Richard Branson. I believe that he has the mindset for business, but also having fun at the same time. I really love what he's been doing, and always smiling. So maybe he would be the one that I would work with.
I bet you. That's a great choice. And here comes the last one for the rapid fire. What is one electronic gadget or a fantasy gadget that you like to see or invent yourself?
I don't know if I'm an inventor. So somehow, like again, during the COVID times, we were exploring maybe these hologram opportunities. I'm not sure if they're ever coming, but in a way, some sort of hologram TV or something where you actually kind of go in and leave the shows or the movies that you're watching in. So just kind of that you understand that it's not real, but just kind of get a different angle and perspectives to be able to walk inside the set in a way. So that may be something that I would like to see.
Simply loved it as like that. So creative. And that was an amazing rapid fire. Let's flip back to the mainstream. So here comes the last but one question. With experience leading teams and companies across multiple countries, so what unique challenges and opportunities do you encounter in your global leadership, and how do you effectively navigate cultural differences and as well as the diverse teams?
A good question again. Really love it. So I think that when you're working with multicultural teams, so one has to be first of all considerate and understand the different backgrounds. So I come from the Nordics, where the organizations are very flat and the hierarchy is very minimal. But my father's from Sri Lanka, so I understand kind of the opposite of that as well, and have family there still. So, but I believe that everybody needs to be treated equal, and the title of the person is not that important as how the person treats you. So in some other cultures, then the hierarchy is very important. So then you have to be aware of this, and when you're kind of building the trust in the team that, hey, this is okay here.
Mhm.
The one trap that I've fallen actually more than once is to understand words the same way. So in some cultures, they're not as open for negative comments or doubts. So you might hear them in nuances when they're speaking up in a way that they are not fully aligned, but they never say to you that openly. And in some other cultures, they're very straightforward when they have doubts and they're saying that, hey, that actually I don't believe in this. So that's why I think one of the most important things is to ask many times people that if this is okay, and just to see that if the answer is the same. And then I think in some cultures they rephrase it a bit differently, and then you can see that, okay, maybe they are not aligned. But I'd say also that having a diverse team and multiple locations has advantages, because then you learn from different cultures. It enriches the work environment, but it's also easier to build company culture when it's not tied to any geographical culture. So, for instance, like I mentioned already, that I like to joke and make fun all the time, but then I also like to admit mistakes and be transparent. And then if I look at selfie stores, so we work with a smile and we believe that everybody contributes to the bigger picture and everybody's motivated. So in a way, then you get these kind of smaller nuances that maybe often are tied to the culture. And then you can just kind of get rid of that. So for instance, Finns tend to be very timid and they don't talk much, and maybe they looked as engineers, and then maybe like the people from the US are more considered of that great at speaking and presenting. But then in this case, you can make anybody to be part of the same culture, and you can kind of raise up the self-esteem of everybody, and then actually people start believing in the bigger picture and they're happy to work for the company. So I think these are the opportunities that you have in the end when you have a multicultural team.
So here comes a personal question. Are you related to Arvind De Silva, cricketer by any chance? I watched. I I grew up watching him.
Unfortunately, no, as far as I know, but I know him so from the name, and I'm AM De Silva, so kind of
Mhm.
happy about having the same name.
In fact, the moment I came across your name, I thought, okay, you must be Sri Lanka. But when I went to and checked in the LinkedIn profile, it was different. Oh my God! So I got that clarity
Yeah,
today.
yeah, you got
So,
that, yes.
Aslak, this has been fabulous conversation. I enjoyed every moment of it, and in fact, there's a lot to learn. And how is your experience being hosted on the Guiding Voice show?
I have loved it. Thanks, Navi, for having. I mean, I love your energy and the way you ask questions. Not the easy ones always, but at least I think that people should learn something and reflect themselves as well with your great questions. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, pleasure to have you, and I'm looking forward to having many more conversations with you in future, Aslak. And really a pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks, Naveen. Take care.
All right, sure. So, friends, that was our episode with Aslak De Silva. And before we jump into the fun trivia section, we have a quick request for you. In case if you haven't already subscribed to TGV, the Guiding Voice podcast, please subscribe from wherever you have tuned in, because subscribing keeps you updated on new episodes. And also, if you have enjoyed the conversation and found it useful, please share with at least three of your friends or colleagues who would also like TGV, the Guiding Voice. So spread the knowledge and help others grow just like you. Now, let's hop into the trivia segment of today's episode. And having had amazing conversation with Aslak De Silva, the CEO of Selfly Stores. Selfly Stores is all about vending machines. And I thought I would present you few less known facts about vending machines. You know, the first known vending machine was invented in the first century AD by Hero of Alexandria, an ancient Greek engineer and mathematician. And his machine dispensed holy water in Egyptian temples when a coin was inserted. So here comes the next fact. In Japan, vending machines are ubiquitous and sell a wide range of items, including hot drinks, ice cream, fresh produce, and even umbrellas and underwear. And third one is about the world's largest vending machine. According to the Guinness World Records, it is located in Singapore, and it is a 15-meter tall structure that dispenses luxury cars, including Bentleys and Ferraris, and to the customers with appropriate funds and documentation. And in the 21st century, Vending machines have become increasingly sophisticated with some equipped with touchscreen interfaces, facial recognition technology, and cashless payments options like mobile payments as well as contactless cards. I think there are lots of things happening within the vending machine space, and I'm sure Aslak's team is at the forefront of coming up with future generation vending machines. So I wanted to present these facts, and likewise, if you are aware of any interesting and less known facts about vending machines, do let me know. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in and for being part of our awesome TGV family. Folks, we would love to hear from you. So do not hesitate to share your ideas, feedback either through our social media platforms, or you can also email us at theguidingvoiceforyou@gmail.com. Let's create content that resonates with you. I'm your host, Naveen Samala, a lifelong learner, and my goal is to have impactful conversations that improve not only your life, but also your career. So until next time, take care, stay inspired, and remember the best is yet to come. Goodbye for now. See you in the next episode with another amazing guest.